Several breaking stories as we come on tonight. Tornado warnings and watches across multiple states. The brazen jailbreak, nearly a dozen inmates escaping. Authorities asking, was this an inside job? And the disruptive transit strike impacting hundreds of thousands in the Northeast. First, the dangerous weather threat right now. 90 million on alert. Nearly a dozen reported tornadoes in the last 24 hours. Homes destroyed, roofs ripped away. Severe weather forcing fans to evacuate before the start of the Beyonce concert in Chicago. The system now taking aim at the Northeast this weekend. Lee Goldberg timing it out. Also tonight, the alarming jailbreak and the massive manhunt. 10 inmates considered armed and dangerous escaping from behind bars, including 4 charged with murder. Images showing a huge hole discovered in the wall of a New Orleans jail. The sheriff making a stunning admission, saying the prisoners may have had help from people inside the department. The FBI involved in the search and nearby schools put on alert. Here in the Northeast, the crippling transit strike affecting hundreds of thousands of commuters in and out of New York City. Hundreds of engineers walking off the job. Tonight, the Sean Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial here in New York. Ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura's 4th day of testimony breaking down on the stand. The defense reading her graphic text messages to Combs, calling her a willing participant in drug and sex-fueled parties, and her message after court today. President Trump flying back to the U.S. at this hour. What he's saying about inching closer to a nuclear deal with Iran after visiting 3 countries in the Middle East in 4 days. And the president suffering a major setback at home while he's blasting members of his own party. A large fire shutting down a busy airport on the East Coast. Planes not allowed to take off or land for hours. The surprise from actor Michael J. Fox, what he's doing now. And incredible new details from the camper missing in the wilderness for 3 weeks, found alive. Her amazing story of survival and the emotional call to her parents.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us on this Friday night. I'm Whit Johnson in for David, and we're tracking breaking news as we come on tonight. The tornado threat right now taking aim at multiple states, and more than 90 million Americans under severe weather alerts from Texas to Tennessee to the mid-Atlantic. The system heading to the Northeast, and just in, the AP reporting the mayor of St. Louis saying at least 4 people have died. At this hour, a dangerous line of storms moving across the Midwest. Tornado watches in 6 states. Severe thunderstorm watches tonight from Kentucky to Virginia to Pennsylvania. Nearly a dozen reported tornadoes in the past 24 hours. This one tearing through New Richmond, Wisconsin. Children screaming, seeing it out the window of their school bus. Major damage near Milwaukee as well. One side of this warehouse ripped off, homes leveled. Storms also barreling through Philadelphia and South Jersey this morning. Treacherous driving in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Flights canceled across the region. Meteorologist Lee Goldberg with the forecast in just a moment. But first, ABC's Faith Abubey leading us off tonight.
Oh my God.
Tonight, more than 90 million under threat of powerful storms from Texas to the Midwest to the Northeast. Dangerous tornado-warned storms bearing down on St. Louis late this afternoon. Authorities say at least 1 person was killed when this church collapsed. Storms slamming South Jersey this morning. Watch floodwaters carry away this road closed sign. Northeast airports hit hard. More than 6,000 flights delayed or canceled nationwide. Overnight, nearly a dozen reported tornadoes tearing across the Midwest. This towering twister touching down in New Richmond, Wisconsin. School kids screaming as they spotted it from their bus. There it is. An hour northwest of Milwaukee, a state of emergency declared for Mayville, the tiny town taking a huge hit. Homes in this warehouse demolished. Not far from there, major destruction in Juneau, these stunned cows standing on splinters.
This can happen to anyone, so you just got to be thankful for what you have, honestly.
Hundreds of thousands lost power across Michigan. And at Chicago's Soldier Field, fans ran for cover. Beyonce's Cowboy Carter concert delayed for more than 2 hours.
And with those storms pushing east, severe weather in the forecast again here in New York City and in the Northeast for tomorrow. Whit.
Faith, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from our New York station WABC. And Lee, a dangerous night ahead.
Well, we have active tornado warnings in Indiana, Missouri, and Kentucky on the east side of Paducah, and this storm is headed toward Grand Rivers right now. It looks tornadic. We have a tornado watch from Arkansas to Indiana till this evening. A second batch of severe weather across the mid-Atlantic, specifically the Delmarva. Baltimore was tornado warned earlier in the afternoon hours. A new watch for Dallas and Waco. As we go through the evening hours from Ohio to Kentucky to Arkansas, the tornado threat is enhanced. It's more of a straight line wind threat through West Virginia and into Tennessee later on tonight. Tomorrow, a couple of rounds of severe storms go to the mid-Atlantic and into parts of the Northeast from Raleigh to New York to Albany. Whit?
Yeah, stay on top of those alerts. Lee Goldberg, thank you. We also have more breaking news we're following tonight. That massive manhunt after a stunning jailbreak in New Orleans. 10 inmates escaping, some charged with murder, all considered armed and dangerous. And authorities tonight investigating whether this was an inside job. Here's ABC's Mireya Villarreal.
Tonight, these stunning images from inside a New Orleans jail cell where 10 inmates, some charged with murder, escaped, sparking an urgent citywide manhunt. The toilet dislodged from a cell wall, exposing an opening. Scrawled on the wall above, "We innocent and too easy," with an arrow toward the hole where they escaped, out of view of the officer on duty. Authorities say it happened just after midnight when the inmates broke a lock on a cell door.
They were still able to exit the jail about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind a toilet in the jail. And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall and running across the interstate.
Officials believe the escapees had help.
These detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department.
They say the toilet could not be removed with bare hands, suggesting someone inside the jail system may have helped the inmates unscrew it with a power tool.
We are investigating that to see exactly who entered these areas, what kind of work was done, if there was work being done, and if this is an inside job.
Jail officials first noticing the inmates were missing during a routine head count at 8:30 a.m. But that's more than 7 hours after they say the escapees were off prison property and on the run. One of the 10 escapees captured before noon found hiding beneath a car at a hotel in the French Quarter. And moments ago, a second suspect caught, with 8 more still on the run. Local schools and universities are on high alert, adding more security on campus and at graduation ceremonies. With this urgent manhunt underway right now, the FBI and the U.S. Marshals also joining in this search. Whit?
Yeah, still a major concern. Mireya, thank you. Here in the Northeast, the crippling transit strike affecting hundreds of thousands of commuters in and out of New York City. Hundreds of engineers at the New Jersey transit system walking off the job, bringing all trains to a stop. Here's ABC's transportation correspondent, Gio Benitez.
Tonight, hundreds of thousands of commuters now left scrambling.
It was like a total disaster. I have to connect to 3 different buses to pick up my nephew by 2:30.
Roughly 450 engineers walking off the job after midnight this morning at New Jersey Transit, the 3rd largest transit system in the nation. The walkout, the state's first transit strike in more than 40 years, ending New Jersey Transit train service in New Jersey, New York, and Philadelphia. Some Metro North trains in Orange and Rockland counties also impacted.
It is a slap in the face of every commuter and worker who relies on NJ Transit.
And traffic is a real concern, especially for big events. We're here at Madison Square Garden. You have that playoff game tonight. And over at MetLife Stadium, you have Shakira tonight. Fans may have to find a new way to travel, maybe even for Beyonce next week. Train stations, usually bustling with riders, empty. At the center of the labor dispute, wages.
They are close to 20% behind their peers off the other railroads.
The union says engineers earn an average of $113,000 a year. They want that to increase to $170,000. But New Jersey Transit says their demands would ruin its budget and force it to put those costs back on consumers.
It has to be fair to them, but it has to be fiscally responsible.
And with tonight, both sides say they are ready to keep negotiating, but the next scheduled meeting isn't until Sunday.
Gio Benitez, thank you. Now to the trial of Sean Diddy Combs here in New York. Prosecutors star witness his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura on her final day of grueling testimony, breaking down on the stand, issuing a statement after she left the court. Here's ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky.
On her fourth and final day of testimony against Sean Combs, star witness Cassie Ventura breaking down and sobbing as she told the jury her former boyfriend beat her during their drug-fueled sex sessions with male prostitutes. Ventura testifying it left her feeling worthless, just like dirt, that I didn't matter to him, like I was nothing. Asked if she would return the $20 million she'd received in a civil settlement with Combs, Ventura told the jury, I'd give that money back if I never had to do freak-offs. The emotional testimony coming after defense attorneys suggested Combs did not coerce Ventura because she willingly indulged his sexual fantasies. They confronted her with her own text messages. In one, Ventura texted Combs, freak off with a girl. You were suggesting a freak off with a girl, a defense attorney asked. That's what I was suggesting, Ventura answered. But later, Ventura testified being with Combs meant she was basically a sex worker, though she also said, I have love for the past and what it was. Combs at times shaking his head. Ventura, whose days from giving birth, left the witness stand without looking at him. Her lawyer reading a statement on her behalf.
I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear.
Late today, the jury saw what federal agents said they seized from the hotel room where Sean Combs was staying the night he was arrested. There were bottles of baby oil, $9,000 in cash, and illegal drugs, the kind of items Cassie Ventura said he would often stock for freak-offs.
Aaron Katursky, thank you. Overseas tonight, the first direct talks between Ukraine and Russia in more than 3 years. Officials meeting in Istanbul, arranging a prisoner swap, but nothing more. And tonight, President Trump saying a crucial meeting between himself and Vladimir Putin could happen soon. ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, in Istanbul tonight.
Tonight, for the first time in more than 3 years, delegates from Ukraine and Russia meeting face-to-face to discuss a potential ceasefire deal. The US and Turkey helping to orchestrate the meeting here in Istanbul, though neither President Zelensky nor President Putin was present. The talks lasting for less than 2 hours, but the two sides agreeing to a 1,000 for 1,000 prisoner swap. Ukraine also requesting a direct meeting between Putin and Zelensky. But the two countries remain far apart on key terms. A Ukrainian official telling ABC News the Russians presented unrealistic demands, including that Ukraine withdraw its troops from 4 regions as well as Crimea. Russia saying it's satisfied with the talks and prepared to continue them. Afterwards, President Trump speaking by phone with European leaders and Zelensky gathered in Albania for a political summit, saying they agreed to work together to reach a deal. President Trump said nothing will happen until he and Putin get together, today telling reporters they may meet soon.
I think we'll solve it, or maybe not, but at least we'll know. And if we don't solve it, it'll be very interesting.
Where the fact that this meeting happened at all is significant, but far more is outstanding than has just been achieved. And meanwhile, Russia's war in Ukraine grinds on.
Ian Pannell, thank you. Back here at home, and the Supreme Court ruling against the Trump administration in deporting Venezuelan migrants using the Alien Enemies Act. The justices extending the ban the Supreme Court temporarily imposed in an emergency ruling last month. The 7-2 majority, including Trump's 3 appointees, Justices Alito and Thomas, joining in dissent. The Secret Service set to interview former FBI Director James Comey after a photo he posted online, according to sources. Comey's Instagram posts showing seashells that appear to form the numbers 8647. Trump administration officials claim that's a call to 86 or kill the president. Comey says he didn't realize those numbers could be associated with violence. He has since deleted the post. Next tonight, President Trump is on his way back to Washington after his 4-day trip to the Middle East. On Air Force One, telling reporters a nuclear deal with Iran is on the table, but they have to move quickly or something bad is going to happen. ABC's Mary Bruce from the region tonight.
Tonight, President Trump headed home after his whirlwind tour of the Middle East. Aboard Air Force One, the president saying the U.S. is inching closer to a nuclear deal with Iran, claiming Tehran has his proposal, but not disclosing any details.
They have a proposal, but more importantly, they know they have to move quickly. Something bad's going to happen.
Trump warning the clock is ticking.
There's not plenty of time. There's not plenty of time.
You feel urgency?
Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and eventually they'll have a nuclear weapon, and then the discussion becomes a much different one.
No deal either to end hostilities between Israel and Hamas. Israel ratcheting up attacks in Gaza. The president saying, quote, we've got to get that taken care of.
We're going to see. We have to help also out the Palestinians. You know, a lot of people are starving on Gaza, so we have to look at both sides.
The president's first major trip abroad, 3 countries over 4 days, focusing more on dollars and cents than foreign policy. The trip aimed at boosting America's business ties in wealthy Arab states, a region where his own family has growing financial interests. This morning, Trump highlighting plans for the UAE to invest $4 billion to develop an aluminum smelter project in Oklahoma. Part of what the White House claims amounts to trillions of dollars in investments from the 3 nations.
We work together, and the money that's made here comes back to us.
The president is now flying home and into a real rift within his own party in a major setback. House Republicans today failing to advance their package of spending cuts and tax breaks. A handful of conservative Republicans insisting on steeper budget cuts, but the president is adamant, posting, quote, Republicans must unite behind the one big, beautiful bill. With
Mary Bruce, our thanks to you. And one note on the economy tonight, consumer confidence falling for the 5th month in a row. The index down 3% since last month and down 30% since January. Households surveyed reported concern about tariffs and a big jump in inflation expectations across party lines. And late today, Moody's ratings downgrading the U.S. government's credit rating 1 notch below AAA because of rising levels of debt. When we come back tonight, that remarkable story of survival, a lone camper lost in the wilderness for nearly 3 weeks, describing how she survived. The surprise headline about Michael J. Fox, and fire shutting down a busy airport for hours, no flights in or out, what we're now learning tonight. Next tonight, a large fire shutting down Florida's Jacksonville International Airport. Flames shooting out from a parking garage. The terminal closed. Planes not allowed to take off or land. Many flights diverted to Orlando instead. Partial collapses reported inside the garage. About 50 cars damaged. No injuries reported. The airport closed for roughly 5 hours, reopening just a short time ago. When we come back, the dramatic 911 call during a bear attack. And Michael J. Fox in the stunning headline tonight. To the index tonight, a bear attack in Gulf Breeze, Florida. A homeowner calling 911 to report being attacked by a bear while saving his dog.
I just got bit by a bear in my backyard. It tried to attack my dog, and I went to rescue my dog, and it bit me in my leg.
The victim hospitalized. A neighbor says he recorded 2 bears outside their home less than 20 minutes before the attack. Incredible. Michael J. Fox making his return to TV. Deadline reporting he will guest star in the new season of the show Shrinking, which features Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. He's been publicly battling Parkinson's for decades. It's his first acting role in 5 years. When we come back tonight, the camper missing for weeks found alive and speaking out what she did to stay alive. Finally tonight, how a missing camper survived weeks in the wilderness.
Tonight, the harrowing story of survival. Tiffany Slayton speaking for the first time since she was rescued after being lost in the rugged Sierra Nevada mountains for nearly 3 weeks. Tiffany speaking to reporters today wearing sunglasses to protect her eyes from the lights because of damage from sun exposure.
I'm very good at foraging. The Sierras has a large selection of leeks, and I managed to survive off of these leeks and boiling the snow melt.
The 27-year-old from Georgia on what was supposed to be a 3-day camping trip. But after 9 days of no contact, her parents reported her missing. Tiffany eventually finding shelter during a heavy snowstorm on the last night in a cabin at a resort closed for the season but left unlocked.
When the owner of the Vermilion Valley Resort was able to get in because the road had been plowed, he saw a pair of shoes. He observed Tiffany there, remarkably and really, truly probably a miracle that she was alive.
Surviving multiple snowstorms, even an avalanche. Rescue crews discovering Tiffany in remarkably good condition.
When I came into the hospital, somehow because of the foraging, my blood work was perfect.
Her grateful parents right there too.
Tiffany's fine. Oh my God. It was the most joyous occasion I think any mother could have.
Seasoned rescue officials overjoyed.
The happiest I felt in a long time. Everyone was texting each other. Everyone was calling each other. Absolutely just an amazing feeling.
Truly incredible. Thanks so much for watching. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.